6 months ago, I bought this camera, the Sony A9 III, and in that time, I've used it at all my weddings and portrait shoots, including using it in really bad weather, and I found myself saying this a lot in my videos. Whoa, still too bright. That is because of the A9 III superpower. Trust me, A9 III, best in the world for this. I'm still getting used to the A9 III because it turns little speed lights into superpowers. This camera, I assure you, if you're into off-camera flash, is an absolute cheat code because of something called the global shutter. And I stand by that statement. Not only does this camera offer unique features that make it pretty much ideal for wedding photography, such as zero banding, even in the worst LED lighting conditions, but thanks to its global shutter, we can use off-camera flash on the Sony A9 III at shutter speeds up to 1/80,000th of a second. That's 80,000 of a second. It's crazy, and we can get more power out of speed lights with this camera than is possible with any other rival camera. This means that overpowering natural light to create dramatic photographs like this becomes so much easier. And no, using an ND filter is not the same as a global shutter. I will explain. Firstly, here is a very quick look at what I've been up to with this camera over the past 6 months and why I feel so confident in saying that when it comes to off-camera flash, this is the best camera in the world. Also very important to say in a video like this that this video is not sponsored by Sony. I bought this camera with my own money. Sony don't even know that I exist. I wish they did. But yeah, they have no affiliation with me or this video whatsoever. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Neil, a wedding and portrait photographer based in the UK. As well as shooting weddings, I also run my own in-person wedding photography workshops. I'm a MagMod ambassador, and beside my partner Helen Williams, I run Flashmasters, an online photography education community based primarily around off-camera flash and lighting. Before we talk about this camera's unique superpower, which is its global shutter, let me first point out some of my favorite features of the camera from the perspective of a wedding photographer. Firstly, it just feels great to hold. It's obviously not a toy camera, but at the same time, it feels much smaller and lighter than some of the rival camera bodies from Canon and Nikon. And from a wedding photography point of view, I don't want a really big, heavy camera. So this is more or less perfect for me. Also, a shout out to its flippy screen too, which is really cool. As you can see here, you can use it close to the camera body and just pull it out a little bit, or you can extend it out to the side, which will enable you to see the screen from angles which were not possible on the Sony A9 or the A9 II. Another thing that I love, the Sony A9 III is completely silent, and I mean completely silent. This camera does not have a mechanical shutter, so there is never a noise when you press the shutter. You can actually add one if you want to, so it'll make a simulated noise, but personally for me, especially as a wedding photographer, when I want to be unobtrusive and blend into the background, being silent is a massive bonus. It enables me to get closer and capture natural and real moments without anybody focusing on me. And even when you're using off-camera flash, the camera is silent. It's actually quite a strange feeling because when you're using off-camera flash, the only sound that you hear comes from the pop of the flash, not the camera, and I love that. Another huge feature of this camera, especially for wedding and portrait photographers, is that the Sony A9 III does not suffer from banding. If you've ever tried shooting natural light indoors, especially in low light rooms which are lit by those horrible flickering LED lights, as so many wedding venues in the UK seem to be now, you will know how frustrating it is to get that horrible banding, those lines that come across your images. But as the A9 III has a global shutter rather than a rolling shutter as other cameras have, banding is a complete thing of the past. This camera also has lots of other features which, although they are crazy impressive, I just don't use because I don't need them. For example, this thing can shoot at 120 frames per second in 14-bit RAW with full autofocus tracking at the same time. I mean, that's just crazy. But again, unless one of my brides is going to sprint down the aisle, I'm never going to need that. It also has a pre-capture feature, meaning that it can buffer and save images for up to 1 second before you even press the shutter. The Sony A9 III also has incredible AI autofocusing as well, which alongside the Sony A9 II is the best of any Sony camera. And it is also weather sealed, which is a good job too, because I've used it in below freezing conditions and in heavy rain, and it's been absolutely fine. But for me, and the reason that I bought this camera, the Sony A9 III really comes into its own when you use it with flash, because that is where you really start to understand how its global shutter makes it the best camera in the world for flash. To put it simply, the superpower of the Sony A9 III is that you can sync flash at any shutter speed. And as I will now explain, the advantages of this are huge. With almost all other cameras, if you shoot at a shutter speed that is faster than your camera's sync speed, which is usually around 1/200, 1/250th of a second, then you go into what is called high-speed sync. Now, high-speed sync is great because it allows us to use flash at faster shutter speeds. Brilliant. But when you are using high-speed sync, your speed lights lose a lot of power. That's the problem. This power loss means that if we want to overpower the sun, for example, we would need to use very large and powerful lights, because to overpower the sun, we will need to use a fast shutter speed, which in turn means that we will be in high-speed sync, which in turn means that we are losing a lot of power out of the lights that we're using. So to compensate, we need to use a large, powerful light, which is still able to give us a lot of power even when it is in high-speed sync. But the problem with that is that those lights are large, they're often very cumbersome, and they're just not practical on a wedding day. There is another problem, because another consequence of using our lights at high flash powers due to high-speed sync is that they can't recycle as fast. In other words, we can't shoot quickly as our flashes are in a high power, and therefore if we do try to shoot lots of photographs quickly, we're going to get a lot of misfires. Most speed lights, I found, will go off pretty much as fast as you would realistically want them to at 1/16th power, or ideally lower. But as soon as you turn those same speed lights up to, say, 1/4 power to compensate for the high speed sync, you are going to get a lot of misfires unless you shoot really slow. So in a very practical sense, certainly when it comes to wedding photography, if you use off-camera flash to capture moments, especially in bright ambient light, such as Helen is doing here for these group shots, or as I am here for capturing speeches in a very bright but also heavily backlit marquee, then having the ability to use your speed lights at lower flash powers because you're not using high speed sync is game changing. So to put it in very, very simple terms, high speed sync does not exist on the Sony A9 III. It doesn't need it, it doesn't use it, it doesn't have any of the problems that high speed sync can create. And even if we're not shooting in bright ambient light, having the ability to use such low flash powers on our speed lights means that we can shoot at ridiculous speeds without any misfires at all. Go for it. Whoa! Oh my god, that's so good! Look at that!
Wow! This effect is amazing.
Yeah! The Sony A9 III's global shutter means that any speed light or strobe that you use suddenly becomes so much more powerful when you use flash at fast shutter speeds. They are the same lights, but with the Sony A9 III, you get so much more power out of them.
Whoa, that's way too strong. Yes, you two, just giggling away.
It means that we can now underexpose virtually any scene or location, even in bright ambient light, and still use speed lights rather than big strobes to overpower that ambient light. And this is why I keep on saying that the Sony A9 III is the best camera in the world for off-camera flash. And it's just a shame and frustrating, really, that I don't think many people really understand the huge advantages that the global shutter offers for flash. When the Sony A9 III was first released, I was actually lucky enough to borrow one from my friend, and I tested what it was like to use off-camera flash at these crazy shutter speeds like 1/80,000th of a second. Even hard to say that sometimes. I'll link to that video up here. It was already obvious then when I was making that video that the global shutter was revolutionary for flash, but I did receive at the time so many comments saying that I should just use an ND filter. But I'm here to now say it is just not the same. An ND filter does correctly lower the amount of light getting into the camera, but it also lowers the amount of light coming out of the speed lights too, so it doesn't solve the same problem. With the Sony A9 III, we can lower the ambient light by shooting at really fast shutter speeds, but even when we do that, the flash still keeps its full power. With an ND filter, even if the ND filter allows you to keep your shutter speed within the camera's sync speed, so you're still getting the full power from the flash, the ND filter will also lower the perceived power of the flash. And that's not counting the fact that using an ND filter is time consuming, it's very faffy, and it can often make focusing difficult. Now, let's be honest, will you ever need to use flash at 1/80,000th of a second? Probably not. I haven't shot that fast since I made my first Sony A9 III video, and to put it into context, that shutter speed is faster than the actual duration of the flash itself. But if you are a wedding or portrait photographer especially, will there be a time when you want to use the full power of your speed lights at shutter speeds that are faster than your camera's sync speed? Now, the answer to that one is almost certainly going to be yes. Personally, I'm using flash at shutter speed faster than a typical sync speed of, say, 1/250th at every wedding that I photograph. For example, in this shot, which was taken at an overcast winter wedding, so I wasn't even competing with bright ambient light here, yet this was still taken at 1/1/250th at f4. And the Godox V100, which I was using in the mag box to light the couple, will probably only have been on its minimum power too. Now, even if we take away the huge benefits of all this power that we now get from our lights when we shoot at fast shutter speeds, because we're not in high-speed sync anymore, this camera just makes off-camera flash feel much simpler. Now, this is when I was trying to come up with this video. This is actually a harder one to talk about, which is frustrating because it's just based on a feeling and my experiences of using the Sony A9 III. But I promise you, this camera just makes off-camera flash feel seamless. I think the best way I can describe this is that in the past, when I was using off-camera flash, I personally would try and always stay outside of high-speed sync because, as I've mentioned, when we use high-speed sync, we lose a lot of flash power, which in turn gives us flash recycle problems. But by staying out of high-speed sync and keeping my shutter at 1/250th, that also had a knock-on effect on my other settings. So I would often compensate for not being able to shoot faster than 1/250th by narrowing my aperture, which ironically also means that we again need even more flash power. The narrower your aperture, the more flash power you need. But now I don't even need to consider that. Instead, I will now decide on my settings by first choosing my aperture, as I see that as being a creative decision, and then I simply choose my shutter speed, knowing that whatever shutter speed I choose, I will still be getting the maximum power out of my lights. Then I simply turn on my lights and shoot. It feels much more like painting the flash over the top of my underexposed base layer, and it makes taking dramatic portraits like these, where I'm underexposed in relatively bright ambient light, so much easier. Trust me, off-camera flash just feels better with the Sony A9 III.
Beautiful.
Now, it's obvious that I love this camera, just this video tells you that, but in the interest of fairness, I want to talk about some maybe potential downsides of the Sony A9 III. I'll tell you now, there's nothing significant. There's certainly nothing that I found in the 6 months that I've been using this camera that is a huge problem. Literally nothing. But to be fair, there are a couple of things that are worth noting. Firstly, the price. This thing is not cheap. That's the reason that I only own one of them. I would love another one, but it's very, very expensive. Also, the base ISO of the Sony A9 III is ISO 250. It's not really a big deal, though, when you consider that you can shoot at very, very fast shutter speeds to counteract that. But it is ISO 250, and some people make a big deal out of that. And I guess the third reason is that this is only a 24 megapixel camera, which again, for me as a wedding photographer, is not a big deal, but it would be nice to have a few more megapixels. I think personally, for wedding photographers, 36 megapixels is probably the sweet spot, and this is 24, but again, nothing significant. But honestly, those downsides are nothing when you put them up against the massive benefits that the Sony A9 III offers. No banding, completely silent shutter, great size and weight, great flippy screen, and of course the ability to use flash at any shutter speed without high-speed sync. And that in turn makes our existing speed lights that you already own much more powerful. Those are the reasons why, for me, this is the best camera I have ever owned. I genuinely love to know what you think about this video, because when I first put my Sony A9 III content out, when it was first released, and I say I borrowed it off a friend, I got so many comments saying, you just need to buy an ND filter. That's all you need, an ND filter. Hopefully, as you see now, it's just not the same. But do you think the Sony A9 III is the best camera for off-camera flash, or is there another camera that you think comes close? Please do let me know in the comments. And finally, if you would like to learn more about flash and how you can use it to transform your wedding photography, because I promise you it's easier than you think, then please consider joining us in Flashmasters. You can join for free at flashmasters.co, create your own profile page, and also watch my complete 1 hour, 50-minute introduction to off-camera flash tutorial for free. Or join us on a pro membership and access the full library of content, and we have so much in there now. Almost 200 hours of educational videos are there for you to watch. And if you do join us on a pro membership, use the code NEIL to save 10%. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.